All right, folks. So, in this week's episode of Ladders to Leadership, we've got Bill Hogan here from Hogan Roof. How you doing, Bill?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having
Good.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. We always like to start things off on a exciting note. So, from your side, Bill, what are you looking forward to this week as a potential highlight for you?
We're going into our winter seasons here in the Northeast, and the team's still selling jobs and still bringing in leads. So we're excited to end the year off strong.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I being based in the Northeast, I can imagine this is gonna become a very busy season for you. So appreciate blocking off time. Well, we talked earlier with Bill, and we talked about this. For every yes, there was a dozen no's behind it. So we always want to thank Bill and others being open to share their insights about what's going on in the field.
Yeah, no, we appreciate being on here. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah. So walk me through your journey. So how did you get into the roofing industry and how'd you get started?
Yeah, so I grew up in the industry. My stepfather was in construction, so growing up through, junior high school and high school, we I was helping him out. I got out of high school and sold cars for a few years. But really seeing that I didn't go into the same place every single day. So I got back into the trades, worked for two companies, ran their crews, and then kind of was forced into either getting out of construction or getting into construction and starting my own company because I was paying my insurance with my last employer and he wasn't paying the insurance. So then I got the dreaded phone call that, some of my doctor bills weren't being taken care of and I had to pay out of pocket for them. And that's how I found out. So when I found that out, I approached my previous employer and approached him like, what's going on? And he said that he didn't have the funds to pay his side of the insurance, so he wasn't paying. So with that, I just left that day and said I'm going to start my own company, and I'm his best competitor.
Ah, I love that concept of you weren't groveling. You took action with this. You'd be surprised. Some people would just get angry and sulk with it, but I appreciate that you took action and started to create something out of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, it's either you stay there and deal with it, and you're going to stay in the same rabbit hole with it, or take action on yourself because it's not going to change. So it was. I'm grateful. I still see him from time to time. I don't have any grudges towards him. I actually appreciate that it happened because if it didn't happen, I'd probably still be working for him.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that's a proud moment for you. I want to dive
Yes.
in on some moments for you, some highlights, if you will, of your career. What's been your proudest moment so far with running your company?
A lot of people look at it like when you're running a company that it's easy. It's really not, but I'm very fortunate. I just had this conversation with one of our guys that our team, everybody is willing to help each other. So we used to call it like we're a family, but we are a family, but we're really a team that pulls together and helps everybody. So they jump across different verticals to help out other people. They don't just stay in their lanes, which is great. It's great to see the team really help out each other.
Yeah, and it's a reflection that people actually care about the folks that they're working with each other with it when you don't see your fellow comrade succeeding or there's a gap, people just stepping in. It's like that's a reflection of the culture that you've built.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we've been working on for a long time. Like it doesn't happen overnight. We've had some team members that weren't really team members, and it makes it easier on me as an owner when we have this culture because I don't have to go approach that person that's not behaving correct or a new hire that slipped through our interview process. The team actually removes them for us because the person doesn't want to be here. So having that culture really helps out.
Yeah, and I always find that culture sets the standard and people either rise to the occasion or fall to that expectation. So if you set a proper culture, there's no other option but to live up to it or transition out because you're going to be a fish out of water, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Our mentor says it like you go through phases in business, right? Where you have like a me leadership team and then a we leadership and then a us. And when you get to us, like the team is leading everybody collectively. So when you get to that level, people remove themselves, and as the owners, we don't have to do it.
Yeah, that's great. So, being an owner, you wear a lot of hats, Bill. So this is going to be a tough question for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
What does a normal day look like for you right now?
Man. So we've been working on this on getting me out of the business so I can work on it more and more, but I'm still heavily involved with operations. That's where I spend majority of my time. It's just dialing in everything. So, we have our daily team call every morning with the whole team, which helps with the alignment and the culture, obviously. And then from there, I'll go over material orders, where crews are, any issues that are going on jobs that we start. We run on average 3 to 5 roofs every single day.
Mm,
So at that time, like we're showing up and we're finding out either material's not there yet or we need plywood on the job and we're making phone calls to the homeowners. Then after that, I'll be with the operations team and, confirm everything that's on schedule for today will be done. Everything that's on schedule for tomorrow, we're ready with and start placing the orders for the material and crews and dumpsters to get ahead of it. And then we're at lunchtime already. So then the end of the day is just really checking to make sure everything is still on pace with everything getting wrapped up. So we're still on schedule for the next day. And then it's, like either I'm on finance calls, operations calls, or marketing calls. So still heavily involved on those.
yeah,
That's
I
my
mean, but
that's my average day though.
yeah, but I appreciate the insight you mentioned it because when people think about the trades, it's everyone has a hammer, everyone has a hard hat and climbing ladders in place, but there's so much more behind it because what you called out here is even though you're working 3 to 5 roofs a day today, you have to look into the future of what's next. How do you prepare your team to be ready for tomorrow's challenges and tomorrow's expectations?
Yeah, there's so much that goes into preparation. It's if I send my crew out to a job tomorrow and everything's not there, I take it up personal on me that I didn't set them up for success. Right? So like that's my duty is to make my team's success easy. So if they got to run out for materials, I didn't do that. I
Mm,
didn't set them up for success.
yeah, and
So
there's opportunity
it's
costs behind that too, because therefore they're not
yeah,
doing their what we expected them because they got to go run an errand.
correct, exactly. So I feel like I have a leg up on a lot of business owners that are in the roofing space because I was an installer. So I understand the whole process of it. I know the importance of having everything out there and the time loss of sending somebody out to go pick up something.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about this from a big picture perspective. What's been working well for your business lately?
The biggest thing is the last 2 years, we've been just documenting everything that everybody in the company does. So we have a process, right? So like I don't have to be the one that says, hey, this is the process on how we're doing it. The person that's doing it can make the process and then we can make that the standard. And then we document it and then we'll throw it on an onboarding plan. So when we bring in somebody to backfill that position, because we're going to move that person up into a, next level, whether it's a management, whether it's junior management or senior management, we have it
Mhm.
documented and they can come in and spend 2 weeks just reading and following what that person did and learn and train it. Just like that person was there, but that person isn't doing the training because it's already recorded and documented out on a script. So it's
Yeah,
just buying back our team's time.
yeah, and I love that because often you'll find like everyone just goes through the motions, like, oh yeah, we're going through it. But going through that documentation process, I find helpful for companies. But I also find like sometimes it changes. Often you're reviewing it. So I know it's recent, it's the last 2 years. When do you think you're expecting to revisit those documentations to make sure it's fresh? And what do you think your approach is to that?
Yeah, that's a great comment. So we actually have a time slot tomorrow at 2 o'clock to go over it again, just to make sure that they're up to date. Because just like you said, we have an organizational chart like that changes from time to time as well, right? So our documentation, the way that we do something today is going to be different than in a year from now, right? Because our company is growing. So when we add in more team members, something's going to change on job descriptions or titles or how we do it. So we
Yeah.
always document it. I try to do it quarterly just to keep an eye on it.
Oh, that's great, Bill. That's great. So there's a lot of moving parts that my gut tells me is driving a lot of success for Hogan Roof. If you had to pick one thing that's driving most of your growth right now, what would it be?
So the biggest thing is what we just talked about, setting up these systems and processes and documenting it and then following it, but not being stuck and not changing them, right? Like one of the biggest things in business is you got to check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
And you can have a new hire that comes in and says, hey, this is how I've done it in the past and it's been super successful. Well, let me take a look at it and implement it into our system. You can't just say, well, no, this is how we do it, because then you're gonna be stuck. And we don't want to be stuck. We were stuck 3 years ago, so we figured it out a little bit, you know. We're still learning. Biggest thing that helped us was getting a mentor to be able to see things. You know, I always explain it like it's you always have that friend that's in a bad relationship
Yeah.
and you can see that it's a bad relationship, but they can't. So it's the same thing with business. Like we can be doing something the wrong way, but we can't see it because we're stuck. We're emotionally attached to it. But then you get a mentor that can coach you. As long as you're willing to be coached, they can see that simple thing right away where we're blindsided to it. It's our relationship, you know?
Did you ever play sports growing up as a kid?
I was an avid bowler. That's really that was my sports that I did.
What kind of ball? Basketball, football?
No, no, bowling.
Oh, bowling. Nice. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So the reason why I bring that up, it's when you mentioned mentors, it resonated with me because it's such a funny concept where we grew up playing these sports and activities, and there's always a coach or like a teacher guiding us through the process. And then somehow, some way, it just stops after high school, and you're
Yeah.
expected to figure things out yourself. And it's just like that's not how we grew up and learned and built our foundation. Why stop that? I love that you talked about like catching blind sides and just making sure someone there's advocating for you because you can get numb to the day-to-day stuff. And it's good to have a fresh set of eyes or someone from the outside providing feedback and insights.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when you're looking for a mentor, like you can find the wrong mentor. I always tell people when you're looking for a mentor, you got to find somebody that has done what you want to do, not what you want to do today, but what we want to do in 5 years or in 10 years. Because if you go with a mentor that's, built a business to 10 million and you want to build a business to 20 million, are they
Hmm.
going to be able to mentor you to 20 million?
That's fair.
They haven't done it, so how can they?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
finding the right mentor, take some time to find the right one.
Yeah, well said on that, especially when talking about growth and being intentional. Let's talk about some wins and success stories on your side. So, looking back at any recent customer wins or successes, what are some things that you're proud of? And help me understand one or two of your recent wins.
Yeah, so we have a contract with Tesla, the solar company, and we were called out on a project that they sent two or three of their other subcontractors that they deal with, and they walked off the project. They didn't want to take it on. So I met with the management team of Tesla and the homeowner at the property, and they were like, they told me the story. The other contractors were here. They felt it was too big of a project. They didn't want to take it on. So we met with everybody. I told the homeowner that yes, we'll be here. We can start in about a week and a half. I said, but the only caveat is that the crew that's coming here to do it has three females on the crew to do this project. So the lady came over, gave me a big hug, and she's like, "I'm so excited that you have a crew that will do this project, and that there's three ladies on there." So, from time to time, we get homeowners call us up and say, "Hey, what did the guys bring their wives to work?" And we had the simple conversation like those women are gonna work harder than the men do, and at the end of the day, you're gonna give me a call back and say, "Hey, I read it wrong from the get-go." And 9 times out of 10, they call me back and say, "Hey, the cleanup was excellent. Those ladies work really hard, and they're like the mothers on the crew. They make sure that the guys stop and have lunch. They make sure that they're hydrated in the summertime and that they have coffee in the winter. So it's kind of a cheat code to get the crew to show up consistently."
Oh, what a cool story for that. And it's just a testament. It's like you never know when good resources and teammates, in your words, come up and deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. It's this one crew, They were tough. On Mondays, I wasn't sure if they were going to show up all the time.
Sure.
But then as soon as we put one female on that crew, they show up all the time. So we don't sub anything out. We have our own W-2 crews. So that was our cheat code to get them to stay consistent with it.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so cool, Bill. I love
Yeah.
that. Let's flip the switch and pivot real quick. So let's talk about, as you mentioned, running a business. It's not easy. What's the hardest part about running your business right now?
I'm super proud of my team, but again, like the business doesn't drive people. People drive the business, and as an owner, like I realized that now after I found the mentor. So the biggest thing now is like just keeping the emotion out of it because when you have high emotion, like you're not thinking, you're just gonna shoot something out that you probably didn't mean to say. We've all been there where we've been excited and said the wrong thing because we didn't think. So with that, high emotion is low intelligence. Sharon Lechter talks about it. Brandon Dawson talks about it, and it's so true. Up until, the company was doing 4 million a year, like that's how I ran the business probably. I didn't really put a lot of thought. It was just on like survival mode. I had to keep on going. So, that's probably what I would say is like just keeping the emotion out of it, man. That was a big learning experience for me.
Yeah, and in any business that has people, I mean, we're humans. We have emotions, and sometimes things don't go our way and we get frustrated. So it's a good call out that you mentioned about this. It's
Yeah.
keeping the emotion out of it.
Exactly. The only emotion in business should be the emotion of excitement of winning a deal or doing something excellent and then getting right back to it for the next win.
Yeah, and I'd also add on to that is saying knowing that you're delivering value to your customer and like
Yeah.
driving forward, and it's that service mentality of being able to deliver something that's impactful. I mean, what more impact is there than maintaining or building a roof over someone's head?
Yeah, exactly. It's nobody really wakes up and says, "Hey, I want to do a roof." I've been saying this for a long time. I'm sure other people have said it too. Like nobody wakes up and says it. It's not like a kitchen, like, "Oh, I can't wait to get a new kitchen."
Hmm.
So when we can go in and give an excellent service on the roof, and then they're calling us back and saying, "Hey, my neighbor needs a roof in 6 months," and we're going back there and doing that, and then a year later we're back in the same neighborhood doing that neighbor's house. It speaks volumes about our team.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk about like some things on your wish list, Bill. If you could wave a magic wand and fix one of the many bottlenecks in your operations, what would it be?
Really, the last 6 months we've been really dialing in our sales process, getting it all built out so it's duplicatable. Because if you don't measure it, you can't, how can you improve it? So we've been building out KPIs for each team member on where they stand now, and we're tracking it to see how they do so we can compare it to last year. So that's really the magic wand would be like having a well-oiled marketing machine and leads that are coming in that are really consistent.
Great. And then so where do you feel most of your time or resources are being drained at?
Most of my time, I'm going to get out of operations. That's on like I just did my annual planning for next year, so I know where we're going for the company as a whole. But within that, we do our PPFs, which are personal, professional, and financial goals on a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year time frame. So next year, like I will be pulled out of operations because I spend way too much time there. So getting out of operations, and then also within that caveat is to get the marketing and sales team like really, really clicking together. So that's where I spend a lot of my time still.
Yeah, and that's a good call because you'll often find the marketing to sales handoff is a very, very interesting dynamic. It's like those aren't qualified leads, or like do your job, sales. Like we put these efforts in, right, and they are qualified, and who gets credit for the lead, for the ROI of the lead that comes in? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, marketing and sales is always like a finger pointing, like, oh, they're not doing their job. Well, they're not closing them well. Like, so it's having them mesh together. We do a one-off marketing call every single week, and then we do a one-off sales call every week, and then we do a marketing and sales call together every week. This way here, we make sure everybody's on the same page. It's a lot of meetings, but they go quick because we show up with intention and
Sure.
we already have it laid out before we show up. Like this is what we're going over. This is what came up on our sales call. This is what came up on our marketing call. This is what we're going to put together on the sales and marketing call to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, and being timely with you planning things right now for the next year. Um, this leads on to the next question for you, Bill, is where do you want your business to be in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, so next year, end of next year, we set three targets, low, medium, and high for what we're going to do volume wise. We have it at 17 million for next year as our high target, so I'm going to push for 20 million.
Ooh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we always set three targets every single year, but we always talk about the high target and we always push the high target to a little bit higher than what it really is. So just keeps the team hyper focused. And we speak about it on our morning call where this percent to our monthly target across everything that we track. So we know if we're, on the 40% of the month and we're only at 20%, like, all right, what department is past their percentage that can jump in and help out? Or what do we got to visit to get that department back to be on pace? Or what more actions do we have to do to get back on pace? Because if we keep doing the same thing, it's not going to happen. So what actions do we got to do to increase to get back on pace for the month? So just tracking it and then, keeping the team dialed in on it. Like, hey, last month we did 110% of income that we were supposed to. We don't carry that 10% over. We start fresh at the next month.
Hmm.
But if we're only get to 90%, we pull that extra 10% and throw it on to the next month.
Yeah, we have to in order to meet
Yeah,
our goals
100%.
in place.
Yep.
Let's double click into that because 17, like that's a good goal to be in 17 to 20 million. That's a strong bandwidth revenue range to go. What do you need in place to make that vision a reality?
Yeah, so we're hyper focused on this stuff. So we just hired two more sales reps and we'll probably need one more crew to be able to facilitate the growth that we plan on for next year.
Yeah, so it sounds like making sure we're feeding in that lead engine in place for you. I love that.
Yes,
Um,
correct. We know how much more marketing spend we're gonna have for it. We have it all dialed in. So it's again, we're in the roofing space. Like we're roofers. We don't Most roofing companies don't do this stuff. I was guilty of it 3 years ago, and that's why I was stuck where I was at for so long because I didn't track it. I didn't watch it. You know, I did my taxes in the rearview mirror. Like in May of the following year, I knew what I did the year before. But now my books are closed out by the 15th of every single month, so I know what we're doing and I can, if you don't track it, how can you change it?
Yeah, I mean, you said it well. What I've heard is what gets measured gets managed, and what gets
Yep.
managed makes an impact. So, like being able to stay on top of mind with it, that's exactly why we have these Ladder to Leadership podcast series, is to highlight what does it take to slowly remove yourself from the business, not to like go and sip on like a Mai Tai in
Mm.
Mexico or the Hamptons where you're not too far off from, but where you can start looking at big picture and know where to guide the business to help support everyone. I love that.
Yeah, I was 3 years ago, I was still in the truck, stopping by job sites, running out dump trailers, bringing out material, whatever it was to keep the business going, keep the crews going, because that's really the most important thing is keeping my team successful. So if I had to jump in the truck and go do it, I would, but it wasn't the best use of my time. So really being able to focus on it and not be distracted. It's easy to get distracted. So just staying hyper
Yeah.
focused on it and using my calendar to my best ability of putting in like there's some stuff that I have on there for tomorrow. Like, hey, I gotta fix some things inside of RoofLink. I put it on my calendar because if I try to remember it, I'm gonna get distracted. It's not gonna happen, and then I'll remember over the weekend. Say, okay, I'm gonna do it Monday, and then the same thing happens. So really dialing in and using your calendar as reminders and stakeholders and respecting your own time is really what helps me grow the business because I respect my time. Now my team respects my time as well. So they'll be like, hey, can I get a meeting with you? I'm like, yeah, just throw it in my calendar. I don't take impromptu meets. Like put it on my calendar, put in there what the meeting is about so I can be prepared, but also you be prepared for that meeting as well because you requested it.
Yeah. No agenda, no meetings.
Exactly. Like if you don't respect your time, that's on you, but I respect my time, so come correctly.
Yeah.
And
And
the team changed with that. Like now they all respect their time. Like they should respect their time. That's the most valuable thing that we have is our time.
yeah, and it goes back to that culture that you set up
Yeah.
and you've established for the team where you know where the standard is, and if folks aren't meeting it, you either coach them up or they transfer out. But either
Yeah.
way, the standard's set and it's no longer a surprise for people. You know what it takes to be a part of this organization or this family, how you describe it.
Yeah, exactly. It's either coach up or coach out, one or the other. There's no in between.
So I love that you're using your calendar as a reminder. And we're starting to see technology becoming more and more present in the roofing space. So help me understand how that plays a factor in your growth over the next few years, whether it's technology, automation. Are you using the greatest buzzword that we see right now is the flavor of the month, AI? Like what's going on in your head and in your company?
Yeah, so we're using AI to a point. You know, the biggest thing that helped our growth is really implementing a couple CRMs, just because keeping it on paper as you're growing and scaling, like it's not duplicatable. So now we're operating in RoofLink for our estimates and our presentation goes right through there. Then we use HubSpot for all of our nurture and follow-up, which all took time to build out. You know, it didn't happen
Yeah.
overnight. And then now we're using the EagleView AI drone. So we'll go out and fly the drone and it will fly for 10, 15 minutes autonomous. Gets a report. I get the report back the following morning. So if we fly it today at 4 or 5 o'clock, by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I have a report that's about 80 pages long with any deficiencies that are on the roof. And then we go back and present it to the homeowner so they can see it. And it's AI generated, so it's not biased. So if it sells a roof or it doesn't, it still gets the payment for the report. So it's a non-biased report. It's not like I'm going there and saying, "Oh, well, you have damage, you got to do this." No, this is AI all from the imagery that it takes. So it's super impressive. If you're not using it, you're gonna be left behind eventually. You know, it's just like operating into a CRM. That was a big thing for us. So
Yeah, and I love that you called it out here, where you're trying to remove the bias of it to provide a fair and honest estimate and a report to the customer to do service for that community.
yes, exactly. It's all about giving service to the homeowners. And, there's been many jobs that we've been called out to give estimates, and we let them know, like, hey, we can do a repair to get this leak to stop. You don't need a full roof replacement. Meanwhile, everybody else is saying, oh, you need a roof replacement. And we do the repair for them. And then, 5 years later, 7 years later, they're calling us and saying, hey, we saved away. We're ready for the roof now. But because we were fair and honest from the get-go, we had their trust.
Yeah, that's actually a good call out about because we hear from like the roofing space, some roofing companies will flat out reject a repair. Apparently, like it's not worth the squeeze for them. But some folks like you, like we see, like this is an opportunity to build a long-term relationship with them. It's tracking that repair to replacement conversion because eventually that's going to happen. There's wear and tear because it's exposed in the outdoors and nature, and weather has its way with roofs.
Yeah.
So like what led you to think about like well I know it from what I'm hearing from you already, but like let's just double down on this. What led you to just call out that like this should be a repair versus a replacement?
We don't want to be transactional with customers. We want to be transformational. So, we don't want to just have that one transaction. We want to be able to come out there, do a roof repair if it's needed. If that's really what's needed, that's what we'll do. If it is a roof replacement, we'll let you know, like, hey, we'll do your roof replacement, but we'll also want to do, annual cleaning for your gutters. Like, let us come back and inspect the roof that we did. A lot of people don't even know it, but in New York, I know our code is if we do a roof with an extended warranty, and we don't come back every year to do an inspection on to make sure that nothing happened, the warranty is not valid. It's just like buying a car and not doing oil changes. If you drive that car for 50,000 miles, don't do an oil change, and you blow your engine, they're not going to cover the engine because of neglect. It's the same thing with a roof. We have windstorms come through. We just had a nor'easter come through, like trees came down. If you're not inspecting your roof afterwards, something could have happened even though you don't know it. You'll find out later on. And then you put in a claim in and they're not going to cover it because of neglect.
Oh, this is great. So we're approaching time, Bill. This is a wealth of information. For those that don't know about this, this is 20 years in the making for Hogan to like share some of these nuggets and insights. And if we look back, let's look at young Bill, who's fresh out of the trades and like looking to figure out what's going on. What advice would you have for your younger self?
Yeah, so we didn't touch on this yet, but this is a big thing that's been near and dear to me for the last 3 years is the mentorship. I mentioned it several times, but with the mentorship, like I have a business plan for my business for the next 8 years because I built it out 2 years ago. So we had a 10-year plan of exactly what we're going to do, what hires we're going to need, what services we're going to add to the business to be able to get to where we want to get to. So having that before I started the business would have been super helpful. I look back and say if I had this 10 years ago, I probably could do 100 million in 8 years. But because I'm so far behind now because I didn't have it, we're looking to do 60 million in 8 years. So we do have a big growth ahead of us, and it's super proud to see the team doing it because once you change from like what's in it for me as the owner to look at my team, like I just had a guy on our team just buy a house cash, and he's
Wow.
one of our lead installers. Like I'm like it's like one of my kids just bought a house. That's like I'm super proud of him, you know. So it makes the rest of the team be like, hey, from working at Hogan, he was here 8 years and he bought a house. So now I'm working here. Maybe in 10 years I can buy a house. So just giving that opportunity to everybody is it changes your perspective of running a business.
Yeah, and it goes back to setting that standard. There's a few insights that comes to mind for me, Bill, when you were talking about this. It's like the first part is like history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. We have
Yeah.
playbooks that can help us get to where we want to be. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So like with you describing that like, hey, like we have a good idea of like what it could be, 60 million in 6 years. Just know that like this isn't new. There's other roofing companies out there that have done this before that's had this revenue milestone in place. So I love that call out that you had with your team. And it goes back to that second and the second part for me is culture. You do right with the customers and do right with your team. You can celebrate everyone's wins, whether it's with roofing or with their personal lives. Like you set the culture in and it just reaps dividends.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said before, like we do our PPFs, I do mine every single year and we sit down with our team every single month, like, hey, you wanted to lose, like it could be they wanted to lose 10 pounds in 1 year. And, every single month we're meeting with them, like, how you doing? Like, and if they say, "Oh, I'm still at the same weight," like, then are you taking it as serious, or am I taking it more serious for you and holding them accountable? That's one thing as people, we need the accountability, but we don't like to admit that we need the accountability. And when we have these conversations with our team member and we go over their PPFs, we say, "Hey, is it okay that we hold you accountable to this?"
Mm,
And we
mm.
get them to agree. Like if they say no, then we say, "Okay, we're not gonna, continue having these meetings because it's not a great use of my time or their time." But if they say yes, I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm gonna hold you accountability to it, and I let them know like what my goals are. This way here they can hold me accountable too. It's a two-way street. Like we're not better than them. We're people just like everybody else. And we need the accountability. That's what a mentor really does for you. So, in hindsight, it's really like we're mentoring our team on
Mhm.
their goals and we can align their goals through actions that they do through the business. So as the business wins, they win.
Yeah,
And
and
then
ultimately get
then
traction together.
Yeah, it helps with the culture, Culture is very important in business.
Absolutely, Bill. So we're at the tail end of things. This has been a wealth of information, Bill. Where can folks find out more about you and Hogan Roof?
Yeah, so we're on Facebook, Instagram. So my personal is Bill Hogan on Facebook and Instagram. And then the company is Hogan Roof on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And then we're also on LinkedIn as well. Bill Hogan on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your time. This has been, again, a wealth of information, talking about all the key metrics and what it takes to grow at the scale that you've grown and where you're looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride, and the whole team's on board with where we're going. So just a lot of owners don't want to talk about their goals or the business goals. They want to keep it all quiet. But as soon as you get transparent with your team, that's when it all starts coming together.
Absolutely, Bill. All right. Thanks for your time.
You got it, no problem. Thank you. I appreciate it.